Have you ever dreamed of owning your own little piece of paradise in Thailand, only to get completely lost in all the legal questions? You are definitely not alone. So today, we're going to untangle all that and give you a super clear guide on what you can actually do. So let's just dive right into the biggest question of all. Can a foreigner legally buy property in Thailand? And the answer is a classic yes and no. Now, I know what you're thinking, but don't worry, that's not a cop-out. It's actually the key to understanding the whole system, and we're about to break it down for you piece by piece. So here's our roadmap for the next few minutes. We'll start with that yes and no, talk about the easy path with condos, then tackle the big barrier, land ownership. After that, we'll look at the legal workarounds, the major pitfalls to avoid, and finally, how to find your way through it all safely. All right, let's get into it. The yes and no answer. This is the absolute foundation of Thai property law for foreigners. Getting this part right is the most important first step you can take. Here's the deal, and it's super important. You, as a foreigner, can absolutely 100% buy a condominium unit in your own name. That's the yes. It's yours, freehold. But, and this is the big one, you are legally forbidden from owning land. That means a house, a villa with a garden. You can't own the ground it sits on. That's the no. So let's start with the easy way in, the straightforward route. If you want the most direct and secure way to own property here, condos are without a doubt the way to go. The legal process is crystal clear, but there is one golden rule you have to know, the 49% foreign quota. What this means is that in any single condo building, foreigners can only own up to 49% of the total unit space. The other 51% has to be owned by Thais. So your very first question always is there room in the foreign quota? Once you've confirmed that, the process is pretty clear. But the most critical part is this. You must transfer the money from a bank account outside of Thailand, and it has to be in a foreign currency. Your bank here in Thailand then gives you a document called a Foreign Exchange Transaction Form, or an FET. This little piece of paper is non-negotiable. It's the proof the government needs to let you register the condo in your name and get that all-important title deed, the chenote. Okay, we've walked the street path. Now, let's get into the winding, tricky stuff, the land ownership barrier. If your dream is a house and not a condo, you're not just buying property. You're getting ready to navigate a legal maze. And the law here is, well, it's about as blunt as it gets. The Land Code of 1954 makes it crystal clear. Foreigners cannot own land in Thailand, period. This isn't a suggestion, it's a core legal principle. So, you're probably wondering, if you can't own land, how are all these foreigners living in beautiful houses and villas? Well, it's because they don't own the land, they control it, using a couple of common legal alternatives. The most popular and safest method is a 30-year leasehold. You register it at the land office, and it gives you a legally protected right to use that property for 30 years. Now, you're going to hear people talk about 90-year leases. Be really careful here. Only that first 30-year term is guaranteed by law. Anything beyond that is just a promise in a contract, not a legal certainty. Just burn that number into your brain. 30 years. That is your legally protected maximum term. The other method people try is setting up a Thai limited company to buy the land. Honestly, this path is way more complicated and has some serious risks. For it to be legal, it has to be a real business, and at least 51% has to be owned by genuine Thai partners, not illegal nominees who are just holding shares for you. That's a huge no-no. Which brings us to a super important section, the pitfalls to avoid. Think of us as your guide with a flashlight, pointing out all the hidden traps in that legal maze. So let's talk red flags. The biggest, brightest, most dangerous red flag of them all is using an illegal nominee structure. That's where you have a Thai person hold the land in their name, but you're the real owner. It's a clear attempt to get around the law, and the government is cracking down on it hard. And the consequences are no joke. We're talking serious prison time, huge fines, and the government can even force you to sell the property. It is absolutely not a risk worth taking. Okay, so after all that, how do you find your way through safely? Well, it all comes down to knowing which path you're on, the straight one or the winding one, and having the right guide with you. So if you remember one thing today, let it be this. Buying a condo is clear, it's secure, and it's a legally defined process. Trying to control a house and land, on the other hand, is a very complex journey that really requires expert help to avoid all those legal traps. Look, navigating this market, especially the winding path for houses and land, is not something you should ever try to do alone. For expert professional guidance to make sure your dream purchase is safe and sound, we recommend reaching out to the team at centralcityproperty.com. Thanks for joining us.